KFAN welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra for 2 amazing shows at Target Center on December 28th at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Get complete show details, including a link to buy tickets at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pastime common. He's 10 and B, legendary Mark Rosen here. A quick response to a text message here. I don't know. I always feel like I'm pretty good at expressing myself and making things perfectly clear, but apparently not. Someone just said, Common, I played football. When you play, if you don't play hard, you're more likely to get hurt. Well, yeah. I mean, that's not what we're even talking about. What I'm saying is, if you're into you have 2 weeks left in the regular season. Your team is out of it. You're 7-8 like the Vikings are. All I'm saying is most of those guys, if they were given a choice, would say, let's just call it into the season. You know, if you said you don't need to play these last 2 weeks,
yeah,
I guarantee you most would say it's because of what he's saying though. Because there are going to be guys that are going to be playing in that game and are going to, after one of those games, there will be at least a half a dozen players in this league that'll have to undergo major knee surgery to an anterior cruciate ligament or an interior cruciate or a mid-terio cruciate. And I'm not ripping them. I'm just saying most guys at this stage of the season, if you're not playing for anything, most guys would rather just take the last 2 weeks off.
Well, you look at Brian O'Neill as a perfect example. He played through a lot of discomfort, pain, whatever. He was playing through knee, ankle last week, and I'm sure he's going to strap it up again and play this week. I think, as I mentioned in our brief conversation, I think because there's so many guys, they're not concerned about the record. They don't really. I mean,
I know what you're saying because
they don't care if the Vikings finish. No,
I know what you're saying. They're playing for tape and for this and that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, take all that out. I'm just saying, if you went up to any NFL player and said, would you like to have the last 2 weeks off? You're not playing for anything. Well, most of them say, God, yeah, I would. And that wouldn't make them bad. Well, that doesn't make them bad people.
No,
I think you said NHL, NBA, MLB, any of them.
Well, and I think a lot of it is traced to the fact that, there's nothing to play for. If you look at the fact that, as a perfect example, we know Mahomes is done. The Kansas City Chiefs still have, on paper, a very good football team. They're 13-point underdogs against Denver at home. Just think about that. With Denver having an opportunity to do a lot of damage, and Denver's healthy. They got Bo Nix, the quarterback. It shows you how important that position is. But I don't know if Travis Kelce's going to sit there and go, man, I'm going to lay it all on the line. Exactly. He may, the way, the subtle ways that sometimes those things materialize is that, you might be getting sandwiched over the middle on a pass play, and all of a sudden you get alligator arms, and you're going, I'm not going to make that extra effort because I'm going to get my block knocked off here. Things that aren't necessarily that are going to show up on tape, but deep down that individual knows. It's just, again, last week the Vikings had nothing to play for, and the Giants are a bad football team. We know that, but Brian Flores' defense was, I've never seen such an anemic passing attack. But that quarterback had zero chance against the Vikings throwing the football. I would think the Vikings, I know Dan Campbell already talked about it, was our worst performance of the year against the Vikings. And Detroit does have, in theory, something to play for right now. And they were embarrassed at home by Minnesota, and they've been embarrassed. And they're licking their chops right now. This is a hugely disappointing situation that they're potentially walking into right now. I expect Detroit, because Dan Campbell threw a chair, I guess, walking in the locker room after the Pittsburgh game last week. And, they
think he's Bobby Knight?
Yeah, well, that would have been during the game. Detroit's got a lot to play for. Vikings don't. Well, I mean, they have to, don't they? I mean, they have to pretend. They're not out of it.
No.
So, I mean, and this is...
You have just as good a chance of making the playoffs as they do, but they have a slightly better chance. I guess.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. And I think that Vikings playing at home and the fans, it's Christmas afternoon. I mean, I think people are going to go out there and try to put on a good show. I mean, Justin Jefferson.
Sure, they'll put on a good show.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not talking about effort.
No.
Do people not hear what I'm saying?
Would they rather?
I think most of the guys would just say, if you're Brian O'Neill, like
Right.
you just said, he went out and played with a bad foot. He's had every appendage damaged so far. Now he's got to go out there and block again.
Well,
and it's like, I'm sure if he said, God, I'd love to take a lot. He won't. He'll go play and give everything he's got. I'm just saying. It was just a simple comment. I'm acting like I just basically insulted the Queen of England.
I think there's just because the nature of the business of the NFL right now. You look at a guy like Jalen Redmond, who's arguably been their best defensive tackle. He's playing for it's not like if he has a mediocre performance, the Vikings aren't going to look at his body of work and go, I don't want to bring him back. He's going to get rewarded. I mean, big time. I mean, Eric Wilson is making it really tough on the Vikings. These players just they're showcasing themselves, and they're showcasing, if not the team they're playing for, changing uniforms and playing for another team. So that's why I think, yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the coach, the coach said, this isn't at the beginning. Did you hear what he said at the beginning of his comments? This isn't a short week. It's a fast opportunity.
He's got the lines, KOC.
So, Tenneby, here's what I'm going to say to you. It's not a short week for you. It's a fast opportunity. In other words, Tennant doesn't have a short list of marketable job skills. He has a long list of growth opportunities. Okay, Larry Mondello guy.
Yeah, that's
a pretty good line, though.
That's pretty good work for
Tennant doesn't have a short list of marketable job skills. He has a long list of growth opportunities.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the coach actually went with that.
Yeah, just it's human nature. When they go to the game, they got the Gallahorn, they got Snoop Dogg singing at halftime, they got the whiteout. People get wound up. It's Christmas afternoon. I don't think if they lose this game to Detroit, people are going to be walking out of there like Lion fans were last week. I mean, they were devastated losing the game the way they did. That was shocking. None of that's going to happen this week, even if it's a close game for Viking fans. And they're just going to go, hopefully it's going to be a good game, and we'll see an entertaining afternoon of football and on Christmas afternoon, and go home and open up your presents or continue to do whichever you're doing, whichever your holiday customs are.
You mentioned that Danny Campbell threw a chair. Mm-hmm. Which defensive back was that for the Lions?
Oh, that's cheap.
I mean, if you watch,
they don't have any of them left.
If you watch the lines, their defense,
I have.
Looks like chairs.
They look like chairs. Yeah.
So McCarthy, hairline fracture. Coach downplayed it. Said it's not much more than a bone bruise, but he can't grip the football.
That's kind of a big deal.
He's out. Well, that's what Deuce on the play where he fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
I said to Deuce, it looked like it just popped out of his hands. Deuce said, no, I think that maybe the defensive player hit him. And I said, I don't think so. And now that we've heard what happened with his hand, it wasn't that play. Knocked out. No, but not that. I'm not talking about when it was injured. I'm just saying he didn't get it knocked. He was trying to grip the football, and it was so painful that it just squeezed out of his hands. I don't think that was knocked out of his hands by
No, it wasn't. And you saw his reaction on the sidelines when the trainer, yanked at a couple of fingers or whatever they were trying to do, and he just winced. I mean, it was very painful, and so not an unexpected result, but it's one more injury, and it's just it's just going to be. I don't think it's going to change the plans of what the Vikings are going to do with McCarthy. Again, as I mentioned at the outset, when you start thinking about what kind of quarterback they want to bring in next year. And you're looking around and going, man, look at the scrap heap right now. Look at some of these teams and what they're playing with. There's a Mac Jones out there. I mean, there's players out there. I mean, the Packers at least have a competent backup in Malik Willis.
For now.
Yeah, for now. But I mean, yes, but for now.
There might be teams that go, let's give this guy a second look as a starter.
I know it. I mean,
including your soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. That would be nice to have him in camp next year.
Yeah, well, you see the Mariotas of the world. I mean, there's a lot of these guys that have been recycled through a lot of teams. And there's a lot of young guys that are unproven, and now you look at the rosters. I couldn't even name them. I was talking about taking New Orleans and spread swing. I can't remember the guy's name, the kid's name, but he's won 2 games in a row. But
Fufermeyer.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's
Tyler Shuck.
Yeah,
Tyler
something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's
shucks.
It just shows you. I mean, you can't think of another sport where there's more a position that's more important than the starting quarterback.
Tenneby, seeing what's happened with the Vikings quarterback situation, are you willing to reconsider my 5 running backs?
I always love that one.
Might not be a bad idea right now.
Well, couldn't be any worse than the way the season's gone.
It is. It is disconcerting because as we talked about yesterday, it's like this is his second year in the league. Now we know he missed all of last year, but it's his second year and he's played 8.5 games, right. And it's been 4 different injuries. First one was the knee, then it was the ankle, I believe, then concussion, and now hairline fracture. And could it just be dumb luck, bad luck, Buxton had a number of injuries. It seemed like he was always injuring something, and then he's had 2 healthy years, and last year was really good. But that doesn't help you at the quarterback. In baseball, at least, it's a longer season. You can be out for 10 games, 12, 20, and you still got 140 left, right? And, in the center fielder, while an outfielder and a good hitter can be obviously instrumental to a club, you still can pick up slack. You're missing your starting quarterback unless you got a Willis and he has to be able to do that every week. It's hard to get by with a quarterback it's like you don't know if he's going to play or not, especially if he's playing less than he's playing. It's a tough situation.
Well, and especially he was making some strides. I mean, it wasn't like he'd become a combination of Dan Marino and Pat Mahomes the last couple of weeks, but he'd been getting better. And now you have this setback, and you think to yourself, okay, we've seen a lot of players. Is this going to be a forgotten sort of asterisk to his long career, or is it going to be the start of something that's going to hamper him for quite a while? He's 22, we know that, and the Vikings are been dying to get a franchise quarterback, and I don't think this is going to change their plans, but it does. It has to change the kind of quality of a backup you bring in. I mean, you just can't have. With all due respect to Max Brosmer, and I think we all root for someone like that. It's a great story, and he's showing some moxie, and but he's not going to be, he's not your longtime answer in any stretch of the imagination. So either bring in another, wily veteran who's, been around the block a few times. The Case Keenums of the world will give you that instant maybe offense, or make a trade and bring someone else in. Kwesi's got plenty on his plate this offseason, but onward and upward. McCarthy will be the guy next August when they open up, when they're in training camp in preseason.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. We got 2 more segments to go here on the Common Man program with Common, Tenneby, and Mark Rosen here on The Fan.
It's a Purple Talkback Tuesday, and we're stuffing stockings with Vikings tickets. All day, send us a talkback on the iHeartRadio app and tell us which Viking has been the biggest gift this season. Winners will be selected all day. Get the details at KFAN.com, keyword contest.
There's a lump of coal in the stocking joke there somewhere, but I'll leave that to others. I'll leave those out of the negatives. We've been really good. It's not a short week. It's a fast opportunity. I just can't believe it.
Got to use that line.
I have some great gift-giving ideas.
Oh, you do?
For the person who has nothing else better to do. Huh? They've sorted their socks, watched the paint dry, the asphalt's been delivered. Flop, Sweat, and Tears, 2 shows coming up after the new year. The 31st of January, we will be at... They said we'd never worked the Eagles Club in Rochester. We'll look at this now. Yeah, that's what they said. Those tickets are available right now for a January 31st show. It's Common, Meat Sauce, and the legendary Larry Mondello guy. The tickets available at commonmanbook.com. I've just taken my book website,
God, you're
which got boarded up, and now we just sell tickets there instead of books because the books have been sold out, so it worked. And then I think it's the 23rd of February. I'll double check on my calendar. Matter of fact, I can actually double check on my calendar right now.
That's a Monday, though, so that would not
be because Tenneby gave me an idea about it. It's the 21st.
21st, it makes sense.
At the Cato Ballroom. The legend, you've worked that stage before, so is Buddy Holly. And we will be there on that Saturday. Tickets available at catoballroom.com is where you go for that. Someone else said, texted this in, said, if you haven't purchased a gift for someone on your list yet, can I suggest the vintage Mark Rosen Decision Maker wheel? You can spin the wheel and listen to Rosie talk about the 70s, pronounce a name wrong, refer to Bud Grant, mention what he had for dinner last night, or recite a stolen take from any national local sports person.
I always love that.
Happy holidays, Rosie. See, they just love to tease you. Remove the interim label guy loves you.
Who is that from?
Remove the interim label guy. Remove the interim label guy.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do too. Here was an email that I received to comment at KFAN.com yesterday morning, and it reads as follows. How fun would it be to see the Steelers versus the Seahawks in the big game this year? Two quarterbacks the Vikings gave up hope on. I truly believe if the Vikings would have signed Rodgers, he would have at least given us 3 extra wins. Vikings would probably be in conversation for playoff hopes this year. They should have signed Rodgers to groom up the rookie quarterback for next year. I'm sure there's not too many J.J. McCarthy jerseys underneath the Christmas trees this year for a kid's gift. Another Viking screw up. Merry Christmas, my boy. You could make the argument. We've debated it forever about should they have signed Sam Darnold to that $100 million-ish kind of $35 million a year. Should they have tried to coax Danny down and say, Danny, you're going to get every chance to win the starting job. I know you want to leave because you think we're giving it to JJ. You're going to have every opportunity to win it. Or apparently there was a conversation between Aaron. I think maybe it was just an obligatory. Was one nice guy? You know, they have a relationship, and maybe it was just like, well, he's a legend. I owe him at least to sit and talk with him and listen to what he has to say and say we're going in another direction. That's what I think probably happened in that, because there's no denying they did talk. They've said it. They decided to go with McCarthy. Now that we've seen what McCarthy's done, I know you were all in on McCarthy, and I think, you know, to the certain extent, I guess I am. I mean, I've never been not in on McCarthy. It was like I just wasn't sure when you're built to win. Like that's why I was for either signing Darnold or Rodgers. And the Rodgers one was really intriguing.
It is. It would have been, but I think that, again, the selling point, and we're watching Aaron Rodgers play every week with Pittsburgh. I mean, he's not at his age. He just, I want to come in and tutor some young quarterback at this point. And he's getting his playing time. He's playing for one of the most successful coaches in the history of the NFL in terms of, you know, just longevity, not having a losing season, and a legacy that the Pittsburgh Steelers have had going back to, you know, Art Rooney. But I mean, had he come here, I mean, A-Raj, would not have been real happy all of a sudden. Well, J.J. McCarthy's healthy again. We got to take a look at this kid. So put your baseball cap on, go back to the sidelines.
Well, no, but if they had signed Rodgers, I don't think they would have done that. It would have been Rodgers. They would have been all in on Rodgers.
That's what I'm saying. The Vikings were not willing to do that. So that it's kind of a moot point. I mean, it just is. I mean, we can have those discussions about if they'd signed Rodgers, if they'd done they drafted J.J. McCarthy to get him to be their franchise quarterback down the road. And unfortunately, he got sidelined all of last year, which really, really hurt him in particular. And now he's playing catch-up. And he's, unfortunately, right when it looks like he's getting in a bit of a rhythm and looking better and more comfortable, he gets another setback. But I don't think, you know, those guys would, I mean, that's where the whole discussion comes about next year, too, Common. It's like, is it a Sam Darnold type that would be willing to come here knowing full well that McCarthy's going to be the starting quarterback on day one? That's just the way it's going to be until he plays himself out of the league. I mean, he does a Christian Ponder type of thing. I don't know what else to say. They're going to go with him.
Are they?
Yes.
What if they had a chance to get a Joe Burrow type?
Oh, they have to mortgage so much. I mean, I just don't see them giving up the kind of capital with number 1 draft picks, and I just don't know how they.
I tend to agree with you. I just wonder if there are any scenarios at all, or is it, as far as you're concerned, and maybe you know something, it's 100% J.J.
I don't know things other than the fact.
Because I'm just wondering if there is any other scenario in which they go, you know what, we like the kid, but you know.
I think it's about how they approach using the backup role. I mean, again, we just talked about looking at some of these rosters and who's playing right now, and then how the fortunes of those teams just get derailed if your starting quarterback gets hurt. And, you know, we've seen the Vikings have with Sam Bradford. We've seen it, you know, going back to Teddy Bridgewater. They've had success. Case Keenum led them, you know, NFC Championship game. You know, they've had those moments. Is that the type of quarterback? If you can get that type of, who is he to identify, to bring him in to be not just a caretaker, but to be a guy who's capable of stepping in and winning? Not many of those guys around, and certainly not many that teams are willing to let go of unless they're free agents. And then you got to pay, you know, a pretty nice dollar amount to get them on your roster. It's a tough catch-22.
Yeah. So they play out the string.
Yep.
They're home to Detroit and Green Bay. And then, Tennessee and I were talking yesterday, too, when you weren't here. And we'll probably get into we will get into it in ensuing weeks. But Alec Lewis wrote a nice piece for The Athletic about, let's just jump ahead a little bit. And once we get to the offseason, what are the needs the Vikings are going to have to address? And I mean, the list is long when you think about it, because they have a number of players that they've spent a lot of money on that you can save a ton of money on if you cut them outright. For instance, with Hawkinson, they'll probably end up trying to renegotiate. But if he plays, I think he would be the second. $12 million goes to him next
that's
year.
not going to fly.
No, that's just not going to fly. And then
I thought it was 21.
Was it 21? I think it was 21.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it is. $21 million. It's like, you can't pay him that kind of money, and you won't pay that kind of money. And if he refuses to renegotiate, which I don't think he would, then you just, sorry, you're gone. They cut him. And there's a couple of other players on that Lewis mentioned too, that they're due big money, yet they really haven't, at least this past season, played to that would justify that kind of a paycheck. And then you just have weaknesses like all teams do. You need some depth on the offensive line. You need some secondary help. Hitman's probably going to retire, and so you're going to have a safety. So there's a lot of decisions they have.
What they have to do, Common, is go 4 for 4, whatever, on their draft picks.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you get them on rookie contracts. These guys have got to not only, and they, for once, they have their allotment of draft picks right now, and they can't swing and miss on really any of them. That doesn't mean all of them are going to be starters, but they all have to contribute.
Yeah.
Because then you get them, on the cheaper rookie contracts, and get some flexibility.
And generally, they're not as injury. They haven't gone through a whole, a laundry list of injuries, and usually the best years in football for most of the guys, seem to be that 24 to 27, 28. And we got a lot of 30-ishes. And some of those guys can last, especially at positions that aren't as brutal as some of the others.
Oh, look at the running back position, and how valuable that is. When Aaron Jones was an animal last week. I mean, he really sucked up when he saw Jordan Mason in the tent. He went, I got to get back out there. And he played awfully well.
And he played well.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, come back. One more segment to go here on the Common Man program with Common, Tennessee, and Mark Rosen here on The Fan.
Discover the future of Minnesota music at First Avenue's Best New Bands, Saturday, January 17th. The main room lights up with Schutz, Giard, 3G, LaSalle, Majin and the Birdwatcher, and more. Doors at 6:30, show at 7. Get the full details on the events calendar at KFAN.com.
13:14 past. I'm Common. East Tennessee, Mark Rosen here. Since we last talked, there were a number of high-profile football games that took place, including last Thursday's game. I know it's a bit dated now, but Seahawks-Rams, terrific football game, especially if you like offense. I'm not as big an offensive guy. I think there was almost 1,000 yards passing, or at least 850, 900. But a game, and it looked like Darnold threw 2 terrible interceptions. He got baited into him, first of all, by a defensive back, threw it right to him, and then there was the one at the goal line, in which he threw it. The big dopey defensive lineman took a couple of steps back, picked off the pass. It looked like Seattle was cooked, but then it was a quick 3-and-out, and then the punt return that brought them to within a touchdown. They got 3 2-point conversions in that game, ended up winning in overtime. And, for Darnold, we talked about how the Rams have kind of been his
Achilles heel.
Yeah. The sunshine to Dracula, right? And yet he found a way. I mean, he still had the bad throws, but he found a way to pull it out late. And I got to think for him, they asked him after the game, the panel, about that feel good to be.
Right.
And he did the old, they're all the same and blah, 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 which, but I'm sure there will have to be some satisfaction, because if you do lose that game, I mean, that would have been, people would have gone, God, you had another poor performance, because everybody is saying, well, Darnold can't play in a big game. When there's a big game and the brightest lights are on, the game against Detroit last year when first place was on the line to end the season, the game against the Rams in the playoffs, He threw 4 interceptions against the Rams earlier this year, but that should go a long way for him.
Well, as entertaining as that game was and as successful as it was at the end of the game, that same conversation is going to come up when the postseason begins because I'm not. We don't know how it's going to play out, but they got 3 loaded teams in that with between the Rams, Seattle, and a hard charging San Francisco 49er team. Darnold's going to have to prove it all over again, and until you do it. Not thinking anything away from what happened against the Rams, but again, it was a regular season game. You got to try.
It was a big regular season game.
No,
there was playoff implications all over.
100%.
That was a huge game, national TV, Thursday night football. I'm not going to downplay that performance. That was a brilliant performance by Darnold in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, it was. And that's what matters. Yes.
That throw he made. Overtime was like, well, now you got to tie the game. There's no punt. There's no field goal. They say you drive him down the field, and he made 2 or 3.
He did right on the sidelines. Yeah, but
the touchdown throw he made to send it to overtime, or was that the one? I think it was the one to send it to overtime.
You know what?
Was simply brilliant.
There's been so many really good games lately. It's hard to remember all that just happened. Over the weekend, and that's again why the NFL, the product and the way it's going to lay out, however the playoff situation goes with wild cards, etc. It's going to be captivating TV based on what we've seen in the last couple of weeks in particular. Because it's pretty wide open.
Then Saturday night, the Bears, their goose was cooked. It was over. It got to the point where Malik Willis came in, played terrific in the second half. It got to the point where the Bears scored. They were down 2 scores, 2 tutties with 2 minutes to go in the game. They score to get to within 1, and then they try the onside kick. And lo and behold, Dobbs has the ball. He can't hang on to it.
Yeah, as they said, he let the ball play him instead of being aggressive and going to get the ball. But they rarely succeed, as we know. With the
he just looked away. He was scared to get hit, so he looked away from the ball before he caught it.
Maybe they shouldn't have a guy up there who's got a concussion helmet on.
Yeah, and then they win the game in overtime, and that was the one thing a lot of the players were saying, and I saw it even Rat wrote up this way in the. And it's fun. We like to romanticize these games and teams. That's like their 5th come from behind victory. Right. It is very nice, and we're hearing this. It's the biggest thing the Bears have going for themselves is the belief in themselves. And it's
come on.
Well, I want to throw up. It's if Josh Dobbs. The Bears' belief in winning that game didn't force Josh Dobbs to make Romeo Dobbs to make just a
fumble that.
I'm sorry, that had nothing to do with it.
No.
But people want to try to make things larger than life. I like the Bears, though, coming from behind, no matter how it happens. That's not their fault that he fumbled the ball. I don't think it has anything to do with belief. It's just. I do think the coach makes a big difference. He's brought in a new attitude. He has made Caleb Williams a better quarterback. Caleb Williams looked lost in his rookie year. He wasn't very... Now, I know in the first half his numbers were pedestrian. He wasn't very good in the first half either. But Green Bay's got a really good team. That's a good defensive team. That's 2 teams playing, again, a lot at stake and playing a really tough defensive football. That's why I like that game better than the Rams-Seattle game. I like defense in that game. Game was so much fun to watch, especially... when you don't have I didn't have a dog in it was a dog in the hunt or horse in the race, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that Bears team, and again, they're not a finished product and they're not perfect, but they're a lot of fun to watch. If you're a Bears fan, they're doing the stuff that Detroit used to do when Detroit was making that build up the last couple of years, starting to play like that. Because then you saw what happened on Sunday afternoon with Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
They gave up 2 45-yard touchdown runs, a 45-yard pass. Their defense, again, is decimated. And they look like they were done, and they got into a position. This is a game they would have won last year or the year before every time. 1st and goal from the 1-yard line with 22 seconds to go in the game. And then all of a sudden, touchdown pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown to Slaws called for setting a pick.
Yep.
Then they have an offside penalty, I think, where the center, the 3rd-string center, flinches. Then Slaw has a catch. He's got it in the end zone, and he drops it. And then, of course, we saw the pass interference penalty on. And here's the other thing in that play. They actually ruled that when Amon-Ra St. Brown caught it at just before the goal line, and he was pushed back and he flipped it to Goff, and Goff ran it in, they said, had there not been a penalty, that would have been a touchdown. I'm like, forward progress. Now, I'm a Lions fan.
Right.
If let's say the penalty wouldn't have happened, and I'm a Pittsburgh fan, I would have been irate. Yeah. I'd have been, what do you mean? I mean, his forward progress to me had been stopped. There was like 6-7 seconds had gone by, but again, Lions. It's. I put it in that category of only the Lions. Those are the kind of losses.
I don't know if you saw the video, but only the Lion fans, and then the absolute mind-boggling interpretation by the official, who first, and that's why all the Lion fans thought touchdown, because that's the first thing the ref said was, it's a touchdown, thinking, oh, Detroit just won the game. And then he goes through the whole litany of reasons why it wasn't. And I saw this video that was shot in the stands, a couple different angles of Lion fans celebrating, thinking when they heard the referee go, it's a touchdown, they thought they had won the game. And then, oops, upon further review, no, it didn't count. So that was another crazy ending, and if you're on the wrong side of that, I mean, your heart's shattered at that point, and going, I can't go through another off season like this.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen them, we've had them here, that's for sure. But entertaining, what the NFL does.
So, your Wolves club, they beat. It took the coach getting ejected into the game to get the team to get the energy to win, but they did win the game, and then they win, and now they play and then they won another game, and now they're going to play
the Knicks tonight.
The Knickerbockers.
Minus a couple of their starters, including Jalen Brunson, not playing tonight. The Wolves are kind of quietly. They're 19-10 now, and they're only a game behind the fourth seeded Lakers, and 2.5 behind Denver and San Antonio. And they're not. They're still, like the other night, I knew it was going to happen after the OKC game. They start messing around with Milwaukee, and Milwaukee doesn't have the Greek Freak playing, and they're down by 16 or something in the first half. And okay, here we go. So I would think they'd come out a little sharper tonight. Mike Conley, I think Jaden McDaniels is out. Conley played well, had not having played for quite a while. He helped him a lot. And so, the usual suspects. I mean, they just have to keep, make more free throws and make more 3-pointers and tighten up that defense a little bit. And it should be a fun night tonight to be at Target Center.
Will you be there?
I will. My son is in town from L.A. and
so you'll be courtside then.
Yeah. It's kind of come full circle. I got invited. It was a long time ago. It's nice. Guess also sitting next to me.
A-Rod.
He works here at the station.
PA.
It'll be Gerdsey.
Nope.
Meat sauce.
Yep. Never met Charlie. He's going to the game tonight. So I'll be with meat sauce.
Well, Charlie's never invited me.
I can't answer to that. I don't. You wouldn't go.
You're right.
So he listens.
I'd like to have a good vibe with him and call him Chuck.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. 18 years ago, I took my...
Does that mean like you have to
years ago.
Park in the ramp, or do you get to park inside?
No. I park my secret spot kind of over by First Avenue. I always park there, and then...
if Charlie can get me courtside seats and get me to park inside the arena by the players parking...
God. Listen to you. I get out real fast where I park. I don't.
Yeah, but there's nothing better than parking. Have you ever parked inside? I did they had a boxing show there when there was Vanda versus
you were ring announcing?
Monsanto. No, I was just a spectator.
Oh,
no, I'm sorry, I was ring announcing. No, I was a spectator for that one. There was one I was the ring announcer for. It must have been the one of the showbox ones, and they let me park inside. And you just drive up to that little door outside. You tap your horn, and all of a sudden the door goes up, and the guy goes, "Can I help you?"
Well, you can always.
I've got access inside, and you drive in. It's so nice.
Back in those days when that was the media entrance, you could always tell by the quality of the vehicles.
My Impala looked quite a bit different than the Bugattis I was parked up against too. They noticed that right away. But it was awful nice.
No, it's that's pretty sweet there. But no, I park a few blocks away, and it's easy walk. It's easy to get out of there. That's what I always like to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I took my son for his 18th birthday to New York in 2004, and that's when Sprewell was cussing out James Dolan every time he made a basket, and it was that's Sprewell, KG, and Cassell, and they beat the Knicks that night, and it was memorable. And here we are, coincidentally, here they are. The Knicks play here once a year, and they're back tonight. So my son could make it in town for the holidays, and so it'll be special. It'll be fun. Enjoy our time.
When
together.
you say a secret spot.
Well, it's not secret. It's an open parking lot by First Avenue, by First Avenue. It's an open lot. I pay. I park there and walk. I mean, Jimmy Pete parks there a lot too. I've seen him walk.
You don't
over.
valet park?
No, it takes too long. Oh my God, no, it takes way too long.
Yeah, but
those guys
you're
work
retired. You got nothing but time.
Oh no, I want to get out of there. When the game's over, I want to go. So no, I don't valet park.
You don't go back to the locker room and hear what they have to say?
No. Well, once in a while, during the playoffs, I did. I'd go back and listen to what Finchie had to say and the players. I wouldn't participate anymore, but I like to hear what they have to say. Yeah. So the Wild playing home. Aren't they home tonight against Nashville?
Yes.
I'll
be there.
They're going to be on the road for a long time because the World Junior is coming up.
You got a secret parking spot?
Got a parking spot.
Is it secret? Because Rosen's is secret.
It's not secret. I just
park in the open.
No, it's an open lot.
You said it was secret.
Well,
Teddy, you got a secret spot that nobody knows about?
It's not a secret.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
Okay.
Yeah. The Wild, and again, it's only one game, and we beat the Lanch previously, right?
Right.
But, boy, did I read this right? Are we like the third best record in hockey at the other two teams that are above us, are the teams in our division?
Yeah.
And were there that Lanch, is it still only 2 losses or is it 3? What is it?
I think 2 regulation losses.
Regulation losses.
They're a machine.
They're
like OKC.
I was going to say that's Oklahoma City Thunder like for the National Hockey League. It's going to be tough to catch those two clubs. And Tenneby, the way the playoffs work, let's say they finish 1, 2, 3 like that. Let's say would we have to play Dallas then?
As of right now, yes. The Wild will play the Stars because the 2-3 plays, and then if you win, you'd have to go through Colorado.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
To have that kind of record and not have not play Vegas or someone.
The one thing that is it's different, but it still results in the same kind of matchups. Who's going to win the NFC South this year? Does it look like?
I think Carolina has the edge right now, but Tampa Bay still has a shot.
Okay, and what's Carolina's record right now?
7-7, aren't they?
Yes, so it's like, and I say,
we go through this every year.
I know, that's what I'm saying, and that's the way it is because it's they do it by division winners. They don't do it by total.
Carolina's 8-7.
8-7. Sorry, that's right. 15 games. We got 2 more left.
Could they go 8-9 and win? Is it still possible? Because if Tampa lost,
no, because they're playing Tampa. I think last week. So I'm not. Yeah.
So 9-8.
And they got a home game.
Well, I guess it's. Yeah, technically, I guess one of the teams could be 8-9 and win the division. Yeah.
So there you go. 8-9, you could win the division. So, but that's just the way she goes. What about? What are your thoughts on the Gopher basketball team?
Yeah, it just seems like they've been out of sight, out of mind with not back in Big Ten schedule yet. So it's hard to. They played a few games and then they disappear and they play Campbell Soup or something over the weekend. So I don't really. I honestly.
Deuce and I love the Campbell Camel's logo.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it looks like a camel that's been touched. That they hit him with a cattle prod in his butt because he's running fast. It's a great looking logo. I like their logo.
Yeah. Well, it's been hard to kind of keep up with, everything else going on, and they're playing non-conference games against teams never really heard of. It's not like they're playing an elite non-conference team. So, just have to hope they get better, and they got a kind of a skeleton crew over there, and they're fun to watch. I like the brand of basketball that Nico Medved's playing with this team, but they're going to just be shorthanded a lot this year, and maybe they'll surprise some people at home in particular.
Unless they've announced kickers now, there's not a Viking on the Pro Bowl roster.
Jeez, well, I would think Reichert have a great shot.
There's not a Viking on the roster. Your thoughts?
Well, I can't argue with it. There really hasn't been anyone that stood out. I mean, the usual suspects. I mean, are offensive linemen or obviously Justin Jefferson. You can make an argument for a couple players, maybe defensively, but Grenard's had a great year before he got hurt, but they're not going to beat out other teams that have more high profile players. So, I mean, Reichert's probably the one guy that legitimately has a shot of being the Pro Bowl kicker. They don't have the Pro Bowl anymore. They don't really have the game anymore. They just have a skills competition, right? But still, there's bonuses involved and everything else.
Why are people trying to get you going?
I don't know.
Buddy of mine literally met Rosen at the valet parking at Target Center one time.
One time I did, and that was probably the last time I did it.
All right.
Yeah, I did. I'm not.
Rosen hasn't brought up the Wild on KFAN in 20 years. Third in the NHL, and Rosen couldn't wait to shoehorn them into the conversation.
You've got to be kidding me.
What a fraud. That's what they're saying.
First of all, that guy's full of whatever.
Yeah.
I've watched more hockey games than that guy in person than he's done in his lifetime.
Yeah, that's correct.
But that's okay.
Yeah. They always just want to get you going.
I don't care.
And then here's this one. I think this comes from Kevin O'Connell. It's not a short week. It's a fast opportunity of Rosen to get free courtside Wolves tickets again. Okay, Larry Mandela. Why? Larry Mandela guy's been taking cheap shots at me, at you, at Tennessee.
Had he not given us that cheap shot, there may have been a ticket available for him tonight.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, then what?
Oh, change his tune.
LMG guy just, sits there on his little keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really sad, isn't it? Yeah, good old Larry Mandela guy.
He's something else.
Yeah.
Working on his comedy.
So you're out until after the first of the year then? Is that correct? Or because I'm gone. Yeah, and Tennessee is going to be gone too. What are they doing when we're gone, Tanner? Are we doing best ofs? Are we doing bowl games or combination?
We got a couple best ofs, and then so we have best ofs on Christmas Day for an hour and a half before the Vikings game. Right. Friday, we have best of for an hour and a half before the Gopher Bowl game.
How do we find an hour and a half? Boy, you must have had to.
I think Monday it's Dave Sinekin.
Okay.
Tuesday, Kevin Fallness.
All right.
Wednesday, I think it's like a hodgepodge of because there's an afternoon Wild game.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a Viking show, a Wild Weekly, and then the Wild game. Thursday, just best of. Then Friday, I think it's Parker Fox.
Wow.
Did you see Parker on Big Ten postgame show, the Gopher game? He did a nice job.
I did not.
He did a really nice job. Yeah, I don't know if that. I don't know how long he's been doing it. I don't pay close enough attention to postgame shows. Yeah, and he did a really nice job. I sent him a little text message.
That's good. No,
he did a nice job. He's got
working hard at it. That's how you do it.
And you know what? He didn't spend a day in the minors.
No,
he's right here working. He didn't go to he didn't go up to. Alexandria and
Brainerd,
work at whatever TV station they have there. He started right here in the Twin Cities. Yeah. So you're going to be, your son's in town, and
yeah, we're going to enjoy the holiday and hang out. And we started last night, so don't get a chance to see him all that often. And you know what it's like when you get your big your adult kid out of town. It's hard and it's emotional when they're here because you don't see them very often. So enjoy it when you can. Yeah.
Text message from Mike in St. Louis Park says, hope all of you guys have a great holiday season.
Back at you.
And I say the same thing back at you. Rosie, I'll see you I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
Get it? 2026. Get it? Thanks, Mark. We'll see you soon. Have a great holiday. Tennessee, thanks for having me, and I'll see you next year.
I'll see you next year. Yeah. Great job.
Yeah, thank you. I'm back tomorrow at 12 noon with Brett Blakemore. We're going to talk. We might spin the wheel of topic. We don't know.
Oh, boy.
And then, but stick around. Big Ticket and Brett Blakemore. They're next, right here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.